Hi everyone, welcome to math video number 5. Today we're going to be learning about SOL 4.4D. It says the students will solve single-step and multi-step addition, subtraction, and multiplication problems with whole numbers. So you'll notice that it's not saying division problems, but we're going to still practice a little bit of division problems today as well. So you may hear the phrase real-world problems, and that's just problems that you're going to face in everyday life where you're going to have to use math. And in those situations, you're going to have to decide, okay, am I supposed to add this information, multiply this information? What am I supposed to do? Sometimes it's hard to determine that. And that's what we're going to be practicing in today's video and in our assignments this week. So sometimes the real world problems are single step. You just have to do one thing and you get the answer that you're looking for. Sometimes it's multi-step. So you may have to add a few things and then subtract to get the answer that you're looking for. So we're going to practice both types of real-world problems. Now, I want to introduce to you a new concept. Well, this may be new to you, and it's just a dynamic that you can put into your mind when you are looking at story problems. So you're always, no matter what kind of math problem you're going to do with addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, you're going to be having some parts and you're going to have a whole or a total. And depending on what you have and what you're looking for will determine if you're going to be adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing. So if you can picture this concept when you're looking at a story problem, it's really going to help you when you're trying to determine which operation to do. So I'm going to give you a really basic math problem. And you might laugh at me because it kind of looks like maybe a kindergarten math problem. But the point of it is to teach you to start thinking in this way when you're determining which operation. So our story says the little boy had 5 red trains and 4 blue trains. How many trains did he have in all? Pretty simple, right? Well, let's use this simple story problem to learn this part-whole concept. So if you can see here, it's asking how many trains did he have in all? And if you ever see this phrase here, in all, that's really the total, right? How many trains did he have altogether? How many trains did he have in all? And that's the part that we don't know. So what we do know are the parts. So that's what you would put in these two little boxes. We know there's 5 red trains and 4 blue trains. So we don't know the whole. So when we don't know the whole, but we do know the parts, that's when we know we're going to be adding or multiplying. Okay, we're going to put them together to find the whole. Okay, so let's look at our problem to figure out, are we going to be adding or multiplying? We do know that it has 5 red trains, so if you just create a picture, it's going to help you. And basically, they just want to count how many of these trains that he has all together, so it's really just adding the red ones and the blue ones, and then we'll know how many he had in all. And when we do that, we know there's 9, and we're done. And that would go in the whole box. Now, if we change the problem to say the little boy had 9 red and blue trains all together. He had 5 red trains. How many trains were blue? Well, here's our clue word that we had just talked about. All together. That's the whole. And we do know that information this time. And we also know that he had 5 red trains. But what we don't know is how many of them were blue. So this is what it looks like with the information we have. And when it looks like this, when we know the whole, but we only know some of the parts or one part, that's when we know we're going to be subtracting or dividing. Okay? All right. So let's take a look at our scenario again and try to figure out, are we dividing or subtracting? Well, when we're subtracting, we usually want to figure out what's left over. And when we're dividing, we're really trying to share things equally among people or divide things, cutting things up, passing things out to our friends, and doing it for a lot of different people. But in this scenario, we know that there's 9 red trains, so these little lines represent how many trains he had, and 5 of them were red, so we'll put them over here. And what's left is the 4 blue trains. So that's just simple subtraction when we find what's left over. Okay, so then in that case, we know there's 4 blue trains and we're done. Okay, so you can see how determining if you have the whole or if you have the parts will help you when determining which operation to do. All right, so let's look at a little bit more complex type of problem. A truck dropped off milk at 2 stores. The truck used a total of 70 gallons of gas to drive to both stores. If it used 45 gallons of gas to drive to the first store, how many gallons did the truck use to drive to the second store? Okay, so now if you know anything about me yet, which we're still pretty new of getting to know each other this school year, I'm a big picture person. I am very visual. So when I'm doing math, I'm always making little drawings to help me wrap my head around the words. I change the words into pictures. That just helps me. You might not be like that. You might not need to do that, but it does help me. So I was just thinking it might help you. So let me show you how I would do it. Okay. So I have this little milk truck here. I think this might be in the way here. Here's our milk truck, and he has to go to these 2 stores, right? It says the truck used a total of 70 gallons to drive to both stores. So he's going to start here and he's going to drive all the way down here, and by the end he's going to use 70 gallons of gas. Okay, so what else do we know about this? It says he used 45 gallons to drive to the first store. So we know from here to here there was 45 gallons. Okay, so now let's figure out with our part-whole chart, what information did they give us? We know that he used a total of 70, so there's your whole, and we know this part right here, but we don't know this part. So on our chart, it's going to look like this. So we know the whole, but only one of the parts, so we know we're going to be subtracting or dividing. So let's look at that story. What are we doing? Are we spreading this around? Are we dividing these things up? Are we splitting things into equal groups? No, we're just trying to figure out how much gas was left over to get to that second store. So that's subtraction, right? Okay, so let's just go ahead back to our picture here. And if we know this was 70 gallons total and this part was 45, then I can just do a simple subtraction to find this section that's left over, right? We need to know that. So I'm going to do my subtraction, and I'm left with 25. So that is the part that was missing. And we have our answer. All right, so let's try another one. It says Mrs. Clefman has 76 students. She wants to give each of them 20 stickers. How many stickers does she need to buy from the store? Okay, so let's see. We need to know how many stickers she needs to buy. So kind of like the total number, right? We need to know how many total stickers she needs to buy to be able to give them to all of her students. So this is the part we don't know. We don't know the whole. We do know that Mrs. Clefman has 76 students, and she wants to give each of them 20 stickers. So these are the two numbers that we have. Since I'm using this word, each of them, that's a really big clue that we're going to be multiplying. Because you want to think about this number here as individual students. And I want to give each of them 20 stickers. So I could either add 20 76 times, that sounds fun, or I could just multiply. So that's what I would do. Oh, you gotta love it when you have a 0, because then you can arrange it in a different way. Let me show you how I do that. I remember learning this when I was in grade school. If you push it over like that, then you can just drop it down and then say 2 times 6, 2 times 7, 14, 15. Oh my goodness, I'm going to have to buy 1,520 stickers. All right. Okay, so let's try another one. Mrs. Crawford baked 160 cookies. She passed them out to 4 of her neighbors. How many cookies did each neighbor receive? Okay, so we need to know how many cookies did each neighbor receive. We know the total amount of cookies that she made. That's all the cookies she has is 160. So we know the total. And we know she has 4, we know she has 4 neighbors, right? So we'll put that number as one of the parts. And so when it looks like this, when we know the whole and just one of the parts, we're either going to subtract or divide. But so here's a key word that she's passing them out. So she is making sure that all 4 of her neighbors has the same amount of cookies. So she's dividing them fairly or into equal groups, right? So that's when you know you're going to be dividing. So I'm going to go ahead and do my long division that we've been practicing. Okay, I'm finished. 40. So each of her neighbors is going to receive 40 cookies. Okay, so you're noticing here a pattern that there's key words, right? So I'm going to be sending you some resources that show you different key words. They're little posters that you could print out and hang them up in your little study area. And so it's just little clues. You know, they don't always use those words, but a lot of times they do. And it will just kind of help you kind of trigger your memory when you see those words and you know, oh wait, I know what that means when it uses leftover. I know that means I'm going to subtract. So it's just a resource for you to use if you would like. So I'll send that to you. All right, let's look at one more. It says Mandy has a total of 144 dog treats. She shared them equally with her 12 poodles. How many treats did each dog receive? Okay, so this is very similar to the last one. We know how many total she has, 144. And here's another number. She shared them equally with her 12 poodles. How many treats did each dog receive? Each. She's passing them out. She wants to give them Pass them out equally. She's sharing them. All keywords that you're going to be dividing. Okay, so now if you're like me and you have your math facts memorized already, or you know your math fact families right away, you might already know what is going to be in this box. Because if you know your math facts of 12, you know that 12 times 12 would equal 144. So that means that 144 divided by 12 would equal 12. You're going to use those same numbers. So our answer is 12. Each dog received 12 treats. Okay. So now I want to warn you because sometimes when you have story problems, and as you get older, it's more often, they're going to give you extra numbers just to make it hard, right? To make sure you're paying attention. Okay, so let's look at this one and see if we can figure out which numbers are the important numbers for us. It says a group of 256 elementary school students, 312 middle school students, and 143 adults attended the homecoming parade. How many students attended the parade? Okay, so if you're quick and you're not reading carefully, you might take all three of those numbers, add them up, and put that as your answer. But look carefully at what they're asking you. How many students attended the parade? This says 143 adults, and we don't need that information to answer their question. So don't be tricked. Make sure you're reading very carefully. So you would simply take the two numbers, 256 elementary school students and 312 middle school students, and we are going to be adding them because they want to know the whole. So we know the part, and we know the part. Now we want to find the whole. So we're going to be adding those. And there would be 568 students altogether. Okay, and another thing that happens a lot of times for story problems is that it's multi-step. And like I said just a moment ago, as you get older, your problems are going to become more and more where there's multiple steps needed to solve it. So let's read this one together. And then you're going to do some show what you know questions with these same ideas of having multi-steps and just trying to figure out what operations to do. So we'll do this one together. So you're going to see this one on your worksheet, on your Follow Me worksheet, and I really want you to try it by yourself first, okay? So I want you to look at it. You're going to pause this recording, and I really want you to try it by yourself. Think about it, draw pictures if you need to, and then press play and see if I get the same answer that you did. Okay, go ahead and press pause. Okay, so let's solve it together and see if I get the same answer that you did. And maybe I might make a mistake and you can send me an email and say, oh, Mrs. Clefman, that wasn't right. Okay, so it says for Heather's birthday party, her parents bought a piñata for $15 and filled it with all her favorite candies. Okay, so right now I know I'm going to make a little shopping list. I know I need a piñata, and that is $15. Okay, she filled it with her favorite candies. They bought 4 bags of peanut butter candies for $6 per bag. Okay, so there's 4 bags of the peanut butter candies, and they're $6 each. Okay, so I could either add 6 4 times or I could multiply. If you know your multiplication facts, that number will pop in your mind. Okay, so now I need peanut butter candies, and that's going to be 24. All right, what's next? 3 bags of lollipops, and those are $8 per bag. Okay, so I could either add 8 3 times or just do your multiplication. Okay, so that was lollipops. I'm going to put LP for lollipop. And that's also $24. Wow, this is getting to be an expensive piñata. Okay, and now we're here. We need 5 bags of sour candies. 5 bags. I'm going to make 5 bags of sour candies for $6 per bag. Okay, so each of these bags are $6. So I could add 6 5 times, or I could just say 6 times 5 is 30. Okay, so the sour candies are the most expensive part for $30. Okay, so this is the information I have. Their question says, how much did the piñata and all the candy cost all together? Ooh, look at that. All together, they want to know the whole or the total. Okay, so here is my information that I have, and I'm going to need to add that together to find how much money it all cost. So then you just add these multiple numbers. 5 plus 4 plus 4 is 13. 1 plus 1 plus 2 is 4. Plus 2 is 6. Plus 3 is 9. Oh, I hope I got that right. Did you get that too? $93 for a piñata. Okay, so that didn't take 2 seconds, did it? No, it took several minutes to really think it through. And this is a real life situation that you're going to encounter one day. Maybe you're making a Christmas present for your mom or dad, or you're getting a birthday present for your cousin, and you have to try to figure out how much money you need. You know, you're going to have to use math in everyday life all the time. So it's really important to be able to understand how to solve these kind of problems. And the more practice you get, the more solid you'll be at getting things correct. Okay, so now it's time for Show What You Know. You're going to get a chance to do some all by yourself, and I just want you to do the best you can, okay? All right, so you'll notice that these don't have multiple choice answers. I'm on the survey, you're going to find a little box, and I want you to type in your answer. So when you do that, I'm not able to tell you on the survey if you got it right or wrong. So it's okay. If I find a student that got all of them wrong and just really struggled, then I'll send you an email and we'll figure out, how to make sure you get the practice that you need. So I want you just to do the best you can. So you're going to go ahead and look at number 1. Press pause, do your very best, and write this down on your Follow Me worksheet because you're going to put it on the survey at the end. Okay, and then number 2, go ahead and press pause and then press play when you're ready. Don't forget to write your answer down. All right, and then number 3. Go ahead and press pause, solve this problem the best you can, and press play when you're ready. And the last one for the day. Go ahead and press pause and then press play when you're ready. Okay, friends, well, I am so proud of you for doing your very best on those. I hope that you will fill that survey out and put those 4 answers from your worksheet onto the survey. And then you're going to find a study island lesson. Go ahead and complete that by Friday. It's all about real world problems. Take your time and just do the best you can. Remember, you can do study island lessons over and over and over. You don't just have to do it once. So if you need more practice, that's a great place to go. But here's another great place to go. I don't think you can click on this link live, so I'll also put this in the email where I'm sending this math video link. But IXL.com is a great place to practice all of your math SOLs. It has something for every single one, and it's really great. All right, so I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks so much. You guys are a great class. Catch you next time. Bye-bye.